In terms of what you see as the state of our economy over the last 55 years, what's your thoughts? What are the things that you will say got us stumbling or got us into a little mess that we found ourselves that even with the rebasing of our economy now, we're still not the greatest in Africa, talk less of the world?
Let me start off from where he stopped, the SMEs. Very, very critical sector, but has been neglected over the years. And there was a time the government actually emphasized the policy, framework to drive the SME sector, with every vigor. In fact, even went ahead to tax companies to set aside some percentage of their profit in order to develop the SME sector. At a point, there was 200 billion naira, in an escrow account from the banks. But the banks refused to disburse this money, claiming that they cannot monitor, the disbursement or the usage of such a fund, therefore denying the SMEs, this critical funding. Now, if you go to Germany, for instance, where I had lived for quite a long time, what drove that economy was the SMEs. Today, we seem to neglect that. Now, that's one area. The other area is our macroeconomic policies, have had somersaults over the years. Nobody is, as we speak, nobody is even sure what the economic policy framework is. I don't know if you ask me. Because attention has not been paid as to what actually stimulates economic growth. What is it that stimulates economic growth? We are not answering the question. Now, we have the agricultural sector. In the last administration, we were told that the agricultural sector did very well, performed creditably well, and we're all hailing that sector. But if you look at the indicators, actually, you still see a whole lot of inconsistencies, like the rice imports, for instance. We are chasing, billionaires all over the place, saying that they have fleeced us off. Yet, we seem to be saying or congratulating ourselves that we are doing well in the agricultural sector. There are so many inconsistencies, so many policy inconsistencies and somersaults that we need to actually...
Okay, just before I get to move the conversation on to Kiarabuka, let's quickly have a conversation with Chief Robert Clark, Senior Advocate of Nigeria. Good evening, sir, and happy Independence Anniversary.
Good evening also. It's my pleasure.
Well, I remember having conversation with you a number of times, and one of the things that you reminded me of is the fact that in 1960, when Nigeria had independence, you were a very handsome young man at 22 years of age. Do you think that Nigeria has done well? Has it matched your expectation when that independence came while you were 22 years old?
Well, when I was 22 and Nigeria was born, I had great hopes because at that relevant young age, I was able to know what was going on in the country. I was following the politics of the country. And with the caliber of leaders we had then, Bafemi Awolowo, Zeke, Saudana, and many other politicians, the sky was the limit for Nigeria. Unfortunately, and unfortunately, things went wrong, first due to the military incursion into Nigerian politics. But after the demise of the military regime, and we started a new democratic dispensation, one will have thought that things will improve. But I regret to state that with the advent of democracy, the worst period in Nigerian history of 55 years is the 16 years that democracy took. For the past 16 years, we've had the greatest asset like any country think of in developing. But I am sorry to say that 16 years has been a year of wasteful expenses. No meaningful development no programs, no ideology, nothing to show for the enormous amount that has passed through the hands of the government within the past 16 years. So, if you ask me to assess Nigeria at 55, it is a failure. Many people are rating it 40%, 30%. I give it 20%. And why do I say so? Unto whom much is given, much is expected. Within the past 16 years, Nigeria has been able to amass a substantial amount of money from oil. But where are we today? Nowhere. But the light is shining now. I'm not a politician. But you can see that when you have a good leadership, when you have a determined man who is ready to sacrifice for Nigeria, things will change. Now, within 3 months, I have bought only diesel for my generator only 2 times in a month. Whereas, within the past 6 months, I have always been spending over 200,000 on diesel. You can see that the megawatts of electricity has gone up. You can see that the refinery has started working. Where has this happened? And when did they think of all this? It's because of the leadership, the fear of Buhari. Many things change. So to me, there is hope. I agree, because the assets are there for us. When you look around at the nations that became independent, around the time Nigeria became independent, we will be weeping. Look at Malaysia. Look at Singapore. We will be weeping. So to me, much hope now lies on our new leadership.
Okay,
And
Chief.
as one of the... Yes, please.
Yes, let me ask you then. Those who would rather look at their glass half empty have said these are early days. Don't get your hopes too high. What would you be saying to them in terms of your expectation for the coming days and weeks and months and years?
What did you say?
I said those who have their outlook or perception of their glass as being half empty, they will say to a few people, especially someone like you who's already talking about spending less on diesel, they'll be saying, don't get your hopes too high because these are early days. What will you be saying to them?
No. You see, when you look at the background from where we are coming from, nothing has changed in terms of infrastructure within the past 3 months. Nothing has changed in the amount of money being pumped into the economy. Nothing has changed in any investment from overseas that will have reshaping what we are seeing within 3 months. What has been the input is the fact that there's a change in leadership. So I still believe that leadership is what Nigeria needs, which we have never had. Nigeria has never had a good leader. And that is the problem of Nigeria. And we hope that with the advent of Buhari, with his background, I hope and pray that Nigerians do not make him stumble. Because the problem of Nigeria are the people of Nigeria. The greatest problem of Nigeria are Nigerians themselves. I remember I always joke that if you bring the Pope to become the president of Nigeria, Nigerians will give him a wife. This is Nigeria for you. So let us pray for Buhari that he does not get into the clutches of these Nigerians. There are so many Nigerians who, on the ground, are promoting self-interest. If Buhari tomorrow says all generators in Nigeria should not work for 2 days, then we will know the extent of how dependent this country is on generators.
Okay.
Do you appreciate that 80% of the electricity being generated in Nigeria today is through generators? So if the electricity, starts coming up now, the owners who are the people selling generators will want to sabotage it. So I pray for Buhari, and I believe God on his side, things will change.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. Really appreciate your insight into